and see if they can try. I can see Amara Mogo on the call. Amara Mogo. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. If you're available on the call, can you tell us what you understand by generative AI?
Okay, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Okay, good morning, everybody. I think
Hello,
generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence that can create new content such as text, type, also simple stuff like when you ask it a question, when you ask it questions, it responds.
Okay, thank you very much, Amara. You are actually very correct. So generative AI is AI tools, AI concepts that allow users to generate content such as videos, text, images, music, audio from pre-trained similar content, right? So tools like ChatGPT, Copilot, they are all generative AI tools. I hope that is clear to everyone now what we say, or when we say generative AI, what that means. Please, I would need feedback. I mean, I would want to see yes in the chat so that I know that we are following or we understand what I'm saying. So please feel free to drop your yes or no so that I can pick that up. All right. So today we are going to talk about acceptable use of generative AI. And what that means is that not every method or not every use cases of generative AI is acceptable. So there are acceptable use of generative AI and there are non-acceptable use or unacceptable use of generative AI. So we move straight to the introduction. Now, it is if you have used tools like Copilot, ChatGPT, and other Gen AI tools, I mean, it's undeniable that these tools are very, very useful. I mean, they have helped us to work smarter. They have helped us to be more productive and churn out work in less time than we have been doing that. So we can tell that, I mean, Gen AI has been useful and I mean, it has come to stay. However, there is also the risk that comes with using these tools. And if we're not able to work in such a way that we are using it responsibly, then we expose ourselves to some of this risk. And how do you use Gen AI? Basically, the whole idea is that you use the technology in a safe manner, you use it in an ethical manner, and use it in a way that aligns with the law. So when you're using any Gen AI tool, you put into consideration these three things: safety, ethics, and law. And that is why we're having this KSS session. I mean, for some people, they may already know what they should and they should not do, but we don't want to assume that everybody does. So which is why we're having this session so that everybody can have a clear understanding of how to and how not to use generative AI tools. So, I mean, if at any point you have used a tool like Copilot or ChatGPT, then this training or this KSS session is for you. Now, before we move on, we're going to look at some examples or some case studies of how Gen AI was used in the wrong way. And we'll be discussing the wrong action that was taken, and then the impact of this action in general. So the first case study, that's why I said I'm going to be minimizing my slides because I've not shown you the complete next page now, because you'll be answering some questions as I continue. So the first case study is the case study of a person who used Gen AI in a murder case. And this person is Richie Natwani. He submitted legal documents containing fake case citation and quotes generated by AI. The errors were discovered by the court staff and it delayed the trial by 24 hours. The Natwani eventually apologized, admitting that he failed to verify the AI output. And the rest of the information is here on the slide. So, first question to you is what was done wrong in this case study? What was done wrong in this case study? Anyone, you can also drop your answer in the chat if that's more convenient for us. So what was done wrong? I think I will just have to go with that method of calling people's names. Okay, Oluwatoyin Afolayan, I see you on the chat. I would appreciate if you can probably shed light on your understanding of what was done wrong. So if you look at this case study, what was it that the defense lawyer did wrong? And anybody, any other person can help this. I just want to make sure that we are interacting and we are talking. Okay, forgery. Thank you, Kelechi. Any other opinion? So let
Hi,
me put the
Oluwatoyin.
case in. Hi.
Yeah. So the defense lawyer failed to distill the data. He just copied from what the AI gave to him and took that to court. So what that is saying necessarily is that regardless of the feedback from AI, you still have to check and validate the data to see it is in line with whatever case you are working on and to get the best results. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's absolutely correct. So what we're saying in essence is that AI can be wrong. So before you go ahead to use content from any Gen AI tool, you need to verify and check that what you have copied or what you're using, the content you're using from there is actually correct. Now, I would have loved to ask us about the impact, but because of time, because I promised that I wanted us to, go back to work and do other stuff in time. So these are the impacts of this kind of use of Gen AI. You see that there was delay in justice. In some other countries, it could take more than 24 hours for that case to be resolved in this kind of situation. And then we see that the defense lawyer was embarrassed eventually and had to apologize. And the judge gave the defense lawyer a warning. We could also see the case of trust and credibility risk. And another impact was professional policy and guidelines. So the lawyer was against the professional policy and guidelines, and he had to take responsibility for that. We could also see reputational damage in this as an impact in this case study. So the second case study is a man in Belgium who used an AI chatbot and was asking the AI chatbot for advice on whether he should commit suicide or not. Eventually, the chatbot advised him to commit suicide, and this guy died. His wife even blamed it on the chatbot and said, his husband would have been alive if not for that chatbot. Eventually, it was discovered that the chatbot was built by a research company, Child Research, and there was a case of them testing the chatbot, and they noticed that the chatbot was actually built like that. It could actually give you malicious, harmful advice, such as this. So in this case, I would like to hear from you again. What was done wrong in this situation? On anyone's part. So we have seen the chatbot, the guy who went to use chatbots and was asking for advice. We have also seen the responsibility of the people that built the bots. So what do you think was not done properly here? Anybody would want to. Okay, chatbots lacks empathy. Okay, yeah, thank you, Oluwabamidele. I would like to call on Abib Bulai Babaita. Please, could you help us in this case? What do you think was not done the right way here?
Okay, so I'll look at it from two perspectives. So the perspective of the company. So the chat box, what they did wrong was that there was no safety warning embedded in it at the point at the beginning until after the incident.
Yeah.
And even after that, despite the safety warning, I think that they even embedded, they still noticed that the test is still giving harmful advice. So from the company, there is negligence from their part. So on the part of the man that committed the suicide, so just my own personal opinion, no. So I'm not sure why you so much rely on information from AI to take his decision. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Abi. So yes, very correct. I mean, as a developer or as a company that is championing the build of a Gen AI tool, you also have a responsibility to take, or your responsibility to make sure that your AI tool is safe, is ethical, and is also has put into consideration the law such that it is abiding by the law. So we can see that this particular Gen AI tool was not built with safety and ethics in mind, because I mean, why would an AI tool be advising someone to go ahead and commit suicide? So these are some of the things that we'll discuss as we go on, would be able to clarify and help you to gain clarity on how best and how best not to. Again, we also see from the standpoint of the man who was asking for advice. I mean, use as much as possible when something does not require, I mean, when there are other ways, there are other traditional ways to do something, try to use those ways. So this guy could have actually talked to a counselor, somebody who is trained to actually listen to people and understand their problem. I think the guy had problems with environmental, what is it called? Environmental disaster or something. He was concerned about the fact that the world wasn't a safe place. So it was like, I mean, should he just commit suicide? And the chatbot advised him to commit suicide. So chatbot is not the best option in this situation. If you're concerned about issues, go and talk to professionals that can help you. There are counselors out there. There are health and wellness professionals that you can talk to. That is a safer option than speaking to a chatbot or a Gen AI tool. So what are the impacts of this situation? We see that someone's life was lost. The family was armed. He had children. He had a wife that, I mean, he was responsible for, but all of these people now have lost him. The company response, we could also see that this company did not build the app with safety in mind. There were ethical concerns about the application. There is also the risk of safety and psychological warning. So these are some of the impacts of this kind of situation when you're using Gen AI. Now, the third case study is a situation of someone who was, I mean, angry at another colleague and then decided to create a fake video, a fake audio of them speaking, saying things about racist content and anti-Semitic content. So we could see eventually, I mean, the person whose voice was faked eventually had to go through disciplinary stuffs, and then, I mean, eventually the case was unpacked, but the harm was already done. So in this case, can anybody help us to unpack what was done wrong and what was not done correctly in this situation, in this case study. Anyone always issue disclaimer on medical advice. I mean, not all Gen AI tools, not all chatbots. Thank you for that feedback, Ibrahim Hamzat. But it's not all Gen AI tools that are built like that. So usually you need to be sure that the tool that you are using is. We'll talk about how to know tools that you can use and not use actually. So can we hear from Immaculate Anigoro? If he or she is on the call, could you please help us unpack what was not done right in this situation? Okay, I also see Olamide Amoron. I'm sorry for pronouncing your name correctly. Please forgive me. Olamide Amoron. Is this for you so that we
Yeah, good
can talk?
morning.
Good morning, Olamide, or good afternoon already. So please,
Oh,
can you help
sorry, good
us unpack
afternoon.
what was not done right? Yeah.
On the slide, I can't see the slide right now.
Is oh, okay. Can you see the slide now? Because yeah, can everyone see the slide?
Oh, okay, I can see it.
Okay.
All right, you're talking about the deepfake audio.
Yes. How did it pay audio ruined a school principal's career? So we're asking, we're saying what was not done correctly in this situation? How did this person use Gen AI? But I mean, in what method did this person use Gen AI?
It's an unethical way because
Yes.
you're not expected to use deepfake for things like this. And deepfake is something that can ruin people's career because it will do whatever it is they ask them to use it for. So AI is like double-edged sword. You use it right, you use it wrong, it can come back to you.
Okay, thank you. So recently I know that there are some deep fake contents that have gone viral on social media. You see people posting images or videos with political persons or leaders inside those videos, and they are saying the federal government, for example, has said that everybody should start paying so amounts and stuff like that. Now, people are starting to use it to create content, but one of the things that they do not realize is that some of these things can mislead and misinform people. You would assume that everybody's supposed to understand that, oh, I'm just joking with this type of content. But unfortunately, not everybody understands that. And some of these things can spring up what is it called? Racist conversation, arguments that will not go well. So, I mean, when you're using any Gen AI tool, deepfake or what have you, you need to also be considerate of the fact that are you misinforming? Are you lying about something? Are you using it to generate information that can represent what it is not supposed to represent? So this is one of the things that we learned from this case study. And what are the impacts? You could see that school activities was disrupted. There was reputational harm done to the school principal. There were legal consequences for the person who generated or who did the deep fake audio. AI was misused, for example, and then we had public trust issues, policy push. Now, with these three case studies, to an extent, we already have an idea how you should and how you should not use Gen AI tools. So just to wrap it up and for all of us to gain more clarity, we have put in some Gen AI don'ts and Gen AI do's. So we'll go through the Gen AI don'ts first. The first thing is that do not use unapproved Gen AI providers. Now, for some organizations, they are clear about it. These are our approved Gen AI providers or Gen AI tools that you can use. But for Leadway currently, I know that we are a Microsoft first organization. And so, I mean, Copilot comes to mind first. So I would say that Copilot is approved because, I mean, it's what is embedded into most of our systems. A lot of us might have used ChatGPT, and I would recommend ChatGPT. I would say that it might be safe to use, and considering the reputation that it has gained over time, and the reputation that its founders have also gained over time. We all may know Elon Musk and Sam Altman. They are one of the founders of OpenAI, which is the company that builds ChatGPT. Then Microsoft is also one of the major investors in OpenAI. So we could, I mean, say that ChatGPT or OpenAI tools are probably something that you want to use. Other than that, I can't think of any other tools that I can say they are safe. But before you use any tool, you want to also look up those tools, look at some of their policies, look at the founders, look at the organization that built them, and see if they have the reputation that tools like Copilot and OpenAI or ChatGPT already have before you start using them. Then another don't is don't use Gen AI without considering ethics. Always have in mind ethical concerns before you use Gen AI. Do not upload customer, vendor, or partner information without written consent. In fact, I would say do not even upload any information at all. Any customer information, customer name, phone number, what have you, even your own information, please do not upload any customer, vendor, or partner information on any Gen AI tool. Don't upload or put in company trademark secrets on any Gen AI tool. I mean, you might be shocked if you do some query on Gen AI tools, maybe ChatGPT, for example, and you would actually see some information that's supposed to be private to an organization, but they are out there. Don't train Gen AI models on restricted or confidential data. Now, this is majorly to the builders, developers, AI engineers, ML engineers, or data professionals. But I do know that there are tools that allow individuals to actually build their own, then there are low-code tools that individuals can also use. So when you are doing, if you find yourself working on an AI tool or what have you, please make sure that you're not using restricted or confidential information. Also, don't use Gen AI when other techniques are appropriate. Now, a case study comes to mind, the guy who used a chatbot and was asking if he should commit suicide or not. Now, in this case, the traditional method of receiving counseling or assistance would have been better, but he went ahead to go and use a Gen AI tool. And you can think of it in your work as well. There are cases where you know that it will be more appropriate for me to do this thing myself than to give it to a Gen AI tool to give you to work on it for you. So please make sure that you try as much as possible to do it the right way, other than using a Gen AI tool. Another thing is don't use Gen AI to create passwords. This is a no-no. Any AI generated password may be stored or logged, and it increases cybersecurity risk. And the last thing is don't enter any PII, even yours. So any personally identifiable information, put it on any Gen AI tool. So the question to us now is it okay to put my phone number or to say ChatGPT should generate a password using my phone number? Is it okay to do that? Is it acceptable to do that? I want to hear from everyone. So you can put yes or no in the chat. If you agree, you put yes. If you don't agree, you put no. Okay, thank you. Only 3 persons have responded. Is it okay to tell ChatGPT, please generate a password for me from my phone number? Okay, or use my full name to generate a password for me. Or use my
Your
home
own don't
address
finish
to
with that.
generate it. Okay, so it's a big no, please, because the first crime you are committing is putting a PII on ChatGPT. The second crime is also generating a password using the app, which is, he said that it could be a security risk. So it's a no. So I'm not expecting anybody to say yes, actually. So, and I see that everybody passed it. So well done. So the final part of this slide is AI do's. So how should I mean, if I cannot use AI this way, then I mean, I should be able to use it this way. So first thing is review and verify any output from a Gen AI tool. So you want to verify. Sometimes it's better to go to subject matter experts and ask them, is this correct in your field? Does this make sense? Because like we said, Gen AI tools are not all right. They are not correct, right, all the time. So another thing you should do when you are using a Gen AI tool is to maintain a log of Gen AI, and ChatGPT makes this easy because you can see all the things that you have, all the prompts that you have done if you have logged onto the platform. So try to maintain a log of Gen AI usage, because I mean, if there is anything that goes wrong, it's easy for the IT team to trace it. And I mean, if you get into trouble as well, you can defend yourself. Okay, that's on the lighter note. But the next thing is use Gen AI with compliance, data privacy, and cybersecurity in mind. Prioritize learning before leaning on Gen AI. Please, this is very, very important. We see that, I mean, on our jobs now, we see that people are even using Gen AI to do interviews. They don't know the concept, they don't know the things, but they want to land jobs by just looking at Gen AI tools to do that. While Gen AI tools should be a resource for learning. I mean, for example, you are copying a piece of code, try to understand it before you even use it, especially if that is your field. So prioritize learning before, I mean, depending on Gen AI, because sometimes even the code or the output that you get might not be correct, and you would not have a clue if you do not prioritize learning. Then the last thing is be honest about AI use. So when you are writing a research paper, for example, let them know in the paper that you have used ChatGPT to support some of the points in this research. Now, having said that, I mean, at this point, I believe that we all have clarity, or we have all gained clarity as to how we should and how we should not use Gen AI tools. We have seen the impact of people that used it, of people that the impact it had on people that used it wrongly, and the impact it even had on others. So I believe that, I mean, after this training or after this KSS, we're able to go on with our jobs in such a way that we're using Gen AI tools such that it doesn't harm, or it is safe, it is ethical, and it abides by the law. Having said all this, I'd like to take questions now. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Oluwatoyin, for this session. It was really insightful. Please, I'd like us to mute our mic if we're not speaking. Okay, so please, we can go ahead to ask our questions. If we have any questions, if we have any contribution, or we need clarity to anything Tony has said today, so we can raise our hands up, or we can type in the chat box.
So, someone asked if the slides are going to be shared, or if they will get the slides after the class.
Okay, so you can, so Toyin, you can share the slides with us, then I will drop it on the chat box so everyone can have access to it.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so please let's ask our question. If we have any contribution, if we need clarity, or if we want Toyin to explain one of the slides that we don't understand well, we can go ahead to make our request before we call it a day. Okay, so in the absence of no question, okay, so someone just dropped a question in the chat box. So Azaya is asking, is it okay to use AI tools for grammar check when writing a report or a mail?
Okay, absolutely, yes. You can use AI tools for grammar check when writing a report. So if we look at, I mean, some of the do's and don'ts, one of the important things is just for you to understand that you need to be honest about it. So maybe you are writing a report, you may want to just put that in and say, I have used so to do some grammatical checks, because at the end of the day, you don't want, let's say you copy a corrected version of what you have written from an AI tool, and then you just put it inside your reports like that. And the version that the AI tool gave you was somewhat not even correct, for example, because we already established that sometimes your AI tool might not give you the correct result. So, I mean, some of the things that the outputs are sort of biased. So sometimes it could even give you an output that you did not intend, and maybe you didn't review and put it there. I mean, when a person sees that part where you said that you've used Gen AI to correct a part of it, I mean, it makes sense to them that it might not actually be you that had written that part, but you had used a tool that gave you that result. I don't know if it makes sense. So yes, you can use it, but even despite that, you need to also put it maybe somewhere in the document. I know that in documents or research documents, there are places where you can put references. So maybe in that section, you also want to say you have used so to review this or to do that. I don't know if that answers your question, Isaiah.
Okay, so Mr. Abib, you can unmute your mic.
Okay, thank you, Yano. Thank you, Tony, for making this as practical as possible. And thanks for making me learn new things. So, based on the question Isaiah asked, I think you answered one leg. So that prompted another question for me. So, while an employee is trying to use AI to get some information, probably to refine the message or make it better. So here I am looking at the implication of the employee putting out probably company's data. So take, for example, I want to check something and this information is probably related to Leadway, and I put it on a particular AI tool. So based on my own understanding, I think this all these AI tool, they have probably a repository where all this data come from. So don't you think it is like exposing the company's data to external use? So what's your take on that?
Okay, yes, Abib, you are very correct. So let's say, for example, you are writing an email and you are addressing the CIO, And talking about his last payment, maybe he didn't receive his last payment. I mean, it's a compensation or his salary. And then you are writing to him. Now, in that case, maybe you feel there might be grammatical errors there. You want to copy the email and put it inside ChatGPT and say, correct this for me. Now, while there might be temptations to just copy the email directly and put it there are things that you should consider before you do that. And yes, you can still check for grammatical errors in this case, but I mean, it depends on how you do it. And I would explain to you how you can do it such that you are not exposing a PII or a complete trademark into the AI tool. Now, let's look at the scenario. The CIO didn't get his payment. This is not a situation that is particular to just our company, right? Any other organization could have experienced this. But the name of the CIO, the amount the CIO is getting paid is very, very confidential and is crucial to our organization. So what you want to do now is remove that piece of information or represent it with something else. So you can say X amount, you can say X person or Mr. M, for example. So what you want to do is that, dear so person, you want to change that name and say Mr. M, for example, or amount and say maybe something like M amount or X amount. So in this case, you achieve your goal and you are still not exposing the company information. So this is just one scenario, but I mean, some of these things, they are, it's not an open book sort of. You don't, I mean, situations are specific to what you're trying to handle. But I'm going to answer Abib's questions. Make sure, what you just want to make sure to do is remove sensitive information. And if it is an entire content that, it is too sensitive to even put, so please don't use another tool, maybe something, or get someone to review for you. Don't use Gen AI. Abib, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, Tony, thanks so much for the explanation. I just so just for the sake of everyone, so that we are just aware that whenever we are trying to use AI, we should be mindful, because that data is going somewhere.
Yes.
And anybody can have access to it. Thank you.
Yes, very important. I know we have, for example, data professionals that will just copy data sets and say, analyze this data for me, without even taking note of what information is on that data set you are putting on it, and the risk of you exposing that data, which could even be a private information to the public. So, and one thing is, Gen AI also learns from the information that you are putting on it. So as you are putting information, you are telling that. I'm just using that as an example. Okay, so another question in the chat is, okay, no, not a question, it's a comment. So thank you very much, ChatGPT should be used knowing that it also makes mistakes, and every of its outputs should be proofread. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, I have Timothy. Timothy's hand is raised.
Hello, Tony. Good afternoon. Can somebody hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
We can
Good
hear
afternoon,
you.
Oluwatoyin. Thank you for a very wonderful presentation. Thank you. Very wonderful. I just want to add that the leadway position on the use of AI is well stipulated in the acceptable use policy from IT. It was communicated to everyone in recent time. We should all go and try and read it. There are some statements there that talk about the use of AI, acceptable use policy. So I think it will add more to what is required of us based on what you have presented. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. So please, everyone refer to the document. We'll be able to find more useful tips inside there. Thank you.
Okay, so please, do we have more questions? Okay, so in the absence of no question, I'd like to say a big thank you to Oluwatoyin for this insightful session. And I want to speak on behalf of everybody that we've learned a lot. We've learned something new, and we now have a better understanding on how to maximize the use of generative AI. So I also like to say thank you to everyone that joined today's session. See you again next week for another topic, and continue to enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. Thank you.